enjoying home. It's been really nice to be home and spend some time with my wife, my family, see some friends that I haven't seen in a long time, and get my body ready to go for another season.
How would you describe your last season?
I think there was a lot of good and a lot of bad, and I think that is part of the development being in my first couple of years of the big leagues. I think there were a lot of things that I learned, and I think that's a product of the struggles. So I'm thankful for those. Obviously, you don't want those struggles in as far as results go, but at the same time, you have to face adversity to be able to grow and improve as a player. So I'm looking forward to building on those in the upcoming season.
What was the bad stuff that you feel like you need to correct?
Well, there's just the game is still the game in the big leagues, like everybody talks about. But there's certain things that don't necessarily fly in the big leagues that maybe do in the minor leagues. And so, just witnessing it firsthand and all the things that you can talk about with pitching coaches and talk about with players all you want, but when you really experience it tangibly firsthand, it's a lot easier to grow and learn from that. So, being on the mound and witnessing those things happen, or in the dugout or bullpen, whatever it may be, it's just a lot easier to learn from those.
Tyler, last year in the second half, it seemed that the team tried to get you a little bit more, was concentrating on getting you more rest. Is there anything you can do in the offseason to kind of, alleviate that next year?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from last year is I felt really good in spring training in the first half of the year and then kind of hit a wall per se in the second half. And obviously the second half is the most important half of the season. So I've made some adjustments in my off-season training and hopefully can be on the incline going into the second half rather than maybe maxing out early on in the season when it's not as valuable.
So is it training later? Is it training less? Is it trying to gauge it out differently?
Right. I think that it's putting a little bit more time into my body and maybe not throwing quite as early. In years past, I still really feel like obviously it's unchanged that coming into spring training, there's always something to prove, and you always want to set a tone and let your teammates know that you've put your time in the offseason and you're ready to go. So I think that I've started probably throwing a little bit early, and maybe the quantity of throwing has been a little bit too much. And as a product, I felt great in spring training, but it's a marathon, not a sprint type of sport. So I think maybe pushing back my timeline a little bit and alleviating some of that volume is going to lead to a better second half.
Right now, the team has 6 starters, and there look like maybe 5 guys who already have a really good shot to break camp in the bullpen. Do you think that the club's going to be really a tough one to make this year?
I think that we had really good pitchers last year, and it was a battle to be in the mix sometimes. And I think that intra-team competition is a really good thing, and I think it's a good problem to have too much starting pitching or to try and decide between who's going to be the guy. So I think about. It doesn't change my motivation. It doesn't change anybody's motivation. When they go out there and train, they train to do whatever they can to help the team win, and whatever that role ends up being, I'll be prepared for it.
You see a guy like Vance Worley, non-tendered, now a free agent. Do you look at that and think, okay, I could be that guy?
Well, I just look at a situation like that where I wish Vance the best, and hopefully our paths cross again, whether it be with the Orioles or on the opposite sides of the field, whatever it may be. And it's hard to predict what people are thinking, and so like I said, for the most part, I just try and take care of the variables that I can, like we've talked about in the past, and just go out there and let the cards fall where they may.
I don't think this directly affected you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what do you have any opinion one way or the other on the new hazing policy in the league?
I was actually just updated on that, and I think that the whole hazing process is. Why would we make it any more difficult for a rookie or somebody that's just coming into the league? Why would we make that transition any more difficult? They're part of the team. We're all in it together, and we have the same unified cause. So any type of hazing or negligence towards respecting another person is, I don't think that that's going to be a problem for our organization.